Internet is. Okay.
Hey, we're live. I'm Tim Peck. Uh, we're here with Lane Stumler. I just said it. No B. Stumler. And we're here. Lane and I met a little while ago, and what we bonded over was the homeless crisis and housing crisis that's happening all across the country, but also here in southern Indiana. And so, Lane, you had a ton of things you can do with your valuable time today, but you decided to be here today. What made you to say this is what you're going to do with your day?
Well, I have a passion for doing volunteer work for homeless folks,
Mm-hmm.
and I met you a while back at New Albany at the library at a candidate meet and greet,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to that for the purpose of talking to any candidate I could on their knowledge and of homelessness and their stance on homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And when I spoke with you, it was refreshing. It was the first candidate I'd ever talked about in any office, or two with at any office, that had knowledge of it, or
Mm-hmm.
even knew anything enough to speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I find out that you're starting your campaign again this year,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all in there. Give you all my support, and I wanted to be here today.
Great. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, it's near and dear to my heart. I grew up with my father, who ran the first homeless shelter for veterans, built and ran for veterans in the United States. I grew up um, eating meals and kind of reading books in the library with the guys in the shelters. And my father would always have this saying that people are people. And you don't know when you meet them where on their journey that they are. And it could be the best day of their lives. It could be, one of the worst. And these veterans that he was serving, that I was learning who they were as people, um, these veterans had seen the worst days of their life, whether that be here at home or abroad at war. And they were climbing their way back. And if you meet people where they are and you listen to them, you truly listen to them, you can help them find a better tomorrow. And so that was the lesson that he instilled upon me. Um, what does that mean to you? Does that resonate?
Well, first of all, you passed the first test.
Okay.
You recognize that the homeless folks are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
People have the idea that the homeless folks are just these ghosty people that creep around in the dark and they don't have families or names or anything.
Right.
But they do. They have families or names of human beings. They have feelings like all of us. They have likes and dislikes. If you sometimes if you go to a soup kitchen, so they serve you a meal that there's something you don't like. Well, it's not beggars can't be choosers. Everybody likes something or they don't.
Right.
So getting past that first hurdle that a lot of people never get to is recognize that these are human beings.
Sure.
And yes, these people have sometimes the worst day of their life every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just imagine when you wake up in the morning, you're on concrete and you don't know where your next meal is coming from. You got to go to the bathroom really bad, and there's
Mm-hmm.
no place to go, and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So these people face this every single day,
Right.
and I have a feeling for that. And just to not be really religious here, but I am a Christian, and when Jesus said, "What you do to the least of these, you do to me,"
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, and I see it. And I see a lot of things that are done in the political world, in the social world, everywhere, that is doing some really evil things to these people,
Uh-huh.
and thinking that if we claim to be a Christian country, and if we are, why would we not be following what Jesus said?
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
off on a tangent there.
Yeah. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. So, you know, is homelessness a problem in southern India?
Mhm. Well, a lot of things are problems. Right now, the weather might be a problem.
Okay.
And I guess it's a problem if you look at it as a problem, and it is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see homelessness is not as much the problem as that we're not addressing the issue and really doing something about it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the problem.
Got it.
Could we address it and end homelessness? Probably not. Another thing that Jesus said, you always have the poor. He didn't say you'd always have the homeless.
Yeah.
Of course, in his day, a lot of people were nomads, and I guess they could be homeless.
Sure.
And that gives a lot of people excuse for saying, well, Jesus said, well, I'll just have the homeless, so we'll have the homeless. Well, that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Just using any excuse to not face the issue. Because these are our citizens, our brothers and sisters, who are having these problems and can't seem to get over it. And if you've worked with folks who are trying to work their way through social services systems, did you ever get behind on a bill, or your insurance payment didn't work right or something, and the headaches you have trying to keep the bureaucracy fed with paperwork to get it done? Sometimes you want to throw up your hands and run away.
Sure, of course.
Well, the folks who are dealing with social services, and social services, bless their hearts, all do wonderful things.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to account for every penny, because whether funding is public funding, private funding, or what, they have to justify the spending of every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of paperwork. Some folks on the streets can't even fill out a form.
Right.
And
whether
so
that be to mental health crisis or just not having the faculties about them. What do you mean they can't? Well,
those things, yes, or to even know how to answer a question, or to even understand what the question is.
Yeah.
So
and that's a failure of the system, much more than a person.
Well, a failure of the system, but I hate to say the system has a failure, because the system, what we have, is full of really great, fine people,
right,
doing what they can. They have their baggage to deal with.
Absolutely. And if I may, I'm a member of the healthcare system, right?
Oh, okay.
And, right, as a physician, and I treat people, but that doesn't mean, even though I try so hard, colleagues try so hard, nurses, all of the people who are in a hospital and run the system try hard, doesn't mean that the system doesn't fail, right? And so people try very hard, but if you don't build the infrastructure you need to help people, then you're just asking people to fail. Well, yes, exactly. And infrastructure in place is fine with what it's doing, but that needs to be recognition of the issue that these folks are challenged with every single day, and recognize the causes and effects of homelessness, which sometimes you talk to people about homelessness, they go straight to say, yeah, drug addiction is a terrible thing. Right. Well, if you want to talk about drug addiction, okay, you want to talk about homelessness, that's a whole other thing. Now, there may be some overlapping there, which there definitely is. And in a high degree of homeless folks, there is a pretty good degree of alcohol and substance dependence. But that is not the main cause of homelessness. Breakdown of family structure, mental illness, the continuing cycling and recycling of generation after generation. Right. Those are the things that need to be addressed. Right. And some jurisdictions are looking at what permanent supportive housing, which is where small housing units are built, and on the site there would be the social services that they need, the mental health care, the financial advisors, because you can get somebody, you can actually get somebody in a home, in a housing project department, home, whatever, but if they and they may have some income, some disability, or whatever they have. Some have Social Security and are Social Security age, which is an increasing homeless, bigger and bigger, because those people who are over 65 just blossoming. But so you get them in a place, they have enough income to pay the rent, which might be $8, it might be $120, whatever it is, and enough to pay their electric bill. But maybe they don't even know how to pay electric. They've never paid an electric bill. If it comes, they don't really know what to do with it. So
But things need to be taken farther. In this public supportive housing,
Mm-hmm.
you would have folks to try to help them understand how to get the bill paid,
Right.
so they don't lose that and then lose their housing.
So, as a congressperson thinking about this, I try to think about it as root causes and things where we in the federal government could actually make real change, right? There is what you're talking about, creating single room occupancies and housing and places where social services can all be. And that is super important. And you talk about financial advisors, but there's also the idea that people are in debt and have no credit and can't get credit, and moving up the river a bit in these problems and saying predatory loaning and payday loans, talking about Visa and MasterCard and Amex and others who make a ton of money off of interest, and how we can kind of rein that in a bit to be more fair to people. The financial system itself needs some changing, and and a lot of this is bipartisan. I heard Josh Hawley, who is as Republican as they can be, saying the same thing in a trial to Visa and MasterCard CEOs, right? We all believe the same things, that this needs to be fixed. And it's about rising above the partisan politics and actually doing it.
Okay. One thing you said reminded me of this. I heard a university professor the other day in a thing I was in, who said it's very expensive to be poor. The system is rigged against you. Just say if you need a package of bologna, you can buy this little thin package that's $3. Okay, well, $3.04 is all I have, so I'm going to get that. But if I had one more dollar for $4, I could get 3 times that much.
Right.
The economy of a scale, you buy the largest quantity you can because per unit it's the cheapest. So if all you can afford is that, then the next day you have to find another $3 to get that. So it's just rigged against you. And the predatory lenders is a real thing, because when you're so desperate, you will take whatever you can get. And if all you can get is paying 25% interest or whatever it is,
payday
I have no
loans
idea.
can be higher, 60, 70% sometimes.
If rigged against you, you will never be able to pay it off.
Right. Well, thank you, Lane. We're going to keep talking about homelessness over the next few months and really zero in on it. We want to know what it's like to be homeless in Southern Indiana, what it's like to be someone who's helping the homeless, what it's like to be someone on the edge of being houseless, and see who those people are, how we can help them, because this campaign, this entire project here is about looking and hearing the voices of people, meeting them where they are, as we just said, listening to what they have to say, and being able to create legislation from there rather than a top-down approach.
I'm counting on you for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah. I have one thing. I don't know if you want to record this,
please.
But also, they're feeling the pain of the budget cuts. Swinging the chainsaw around and saying this is going to be painful.
Right.
Well, painful for you. Who? Not the guy with the chainsaw. But it's painful for the folks who already are in pain.
Right.
We're already talking. Social service agencies are. When I ask them, folks I work, are you getting budget cuts? And they're either getting budget cuts, they feel them coming from the federal, and then the state, and then the state by way of the federal.
So this is where I stand on the chainsaw and on DOJ in general, is that indiscriminate cutting, it just hurts and hurts people, and you don't know who you're hurting, right? And I think the media, I think politicians give us this false choice where it has to be cut, or spend. Those are your only 2 choices. When that is the least innovative, laziest way that you can be as a politician, as a government. Government can be innovative. I've been part of innovative government before. We've passed bipartisan bills to make telemedicine a thing for seniors and for the disabled and for people in rural areas. I've been part of that. I've seen it work. And I think that you can go down the middle where you say, let's change what we have with the funding that we have, rather than peel back the funding that we have in order to invest in people so that they can grow and be able to give back to the community and help the economy grow.
Bingo.
And so this is not a partisan thing. When you talk this way, when you think this way, you can bridge partisan divides, and that's what I intend to do.
Okay. Hope you get their attention.
Thank you. Good stuff.
You too. Oh, it was a telehealth